In the last video I explained what isolations are and what they are good for, and now I want to give a few tips how to practice, how to learn isolations. Isolations are really a matter of practice. You won't learn them in one day because your body just has to get used to this way of moving your prop around. A nice way to get started are these horizontal isolations. So instead of just spinning the whip like this on a horizontal plane below your arms, you start to move your hand as well, like you were stirring a soup. You go both directions, of course, and both hands anyway. So from this spinning here, we start to move your hand. Focus on this point here in the middle of the whip and really try to start to also move your hand above this point around in a circle to create this cone shape from this point upwards, and by the same time you steer the handle around that it makes this cone shape at the bottom. In the beginning you will pretty often fall back just in this spinning. So when you fall back into this, again stop and start circling your hand around. It's probably a good idea not to start from spinning and then to try to go into this isolation, but already here from the whip just hanging down, move your hand in a circle, and then the handle end will automatically follow and you get into this isolation. And as soon as you fall back into the circling, stop again and start to move your hand. And as I said, in both directions and with both hands. And then you can start to play with different length, a bit shorter. That's a bit harder because the movement is faster when you're smaller and shorter. And the longer whip and in both directions. And then finally try to go around your legs, go between your legs. In the beginning we'll probably not really nail to go between, but at first you come out somewhere on your legs, will hit yourself, but then you can try to steer the whip around. The idea is pretty much like you had a staff and you move the staff around. So by your hand you move the tip of the staff around your legs, and you should have this feeling more or less with your hand when you isolate. Then here drive your handle around with your hand. So imagine this was not a whip but just stiff, and you then steer your handle around. For the vertical isolations you can try to start also with the handle just hanging down and then move your hand below the handle. So you steer the handle up and your hand circles under the handle. Like so. And both hands, of course, and in both directions. So it's not spinning the handle up, but moving your hand under the handle. It's also a little bit of spinning up involved, but you can try really to move your hand down there. And when you start here from spinning, you can focus on different points. You can really focus on this moving your hand under the handle, and you can focus on the sides that you from one side really move under the handle to the other side, and then above the handle to that side again. So really focus that you move your hand and don't fall back into just holding your hand still and let the whip spin around the hand. But try to get this circling motion with your hand. Then you can play with a shorter whip, with a longer one. And this is easier with a heavier weight on the end. So there are different wood brands out there, and the weight of the handle, the weight distribution between handle and fibers is different, so that can also affect how well isolations work. If you don't get started with your whip because maybe the handle is too light, then take a practice prop, take a poi or something, and make it a bit heavier, and then you can start to isolate, and it might be easier. The rest is really practice. Don't give up, you'll get it eventually.